All right, dear friends, waiting a few seconds. We are live right now. Live as we speak, 12:19 Wednesday morning. Let me give you a second to come on board, find out where you are. This is why you need to subscribe. This is why you need to also subscribe to that little red, dot, or not dot, the bell, so you're always notified of when we are on live and going live and that sort of thing. So anyway, I wish you a good morning, a hearty hello. Let's see if you're there. Let's see who shows up first. Let's see who the very first person is today. The very first name that appears. Let us see. This is always interesting to see, always interesting to note. Let's see who is paying attention. I hope somebody is. I'm going to wait. It always takes a while. Just for a second for someone to saunter on in. Enjoy the fun, enjoy the frolic. We're waiting right now. Let's see who it is. Let me see. I was going to talk to you about a couple of things, and first and foremost, I hope I'm not getting to the point where I am repeating my themes, because I think I do. There we go. There's Pamela Merrick. Pamela is the first person on. Pamela, good morning. You were the very first noted participant in today's foray. A hearty hello now. Welcome. Freddie Haddad's there. I just watch you on Redacted. Indeed, Bernays Sauce joins us. Feel the love, feel the excitement as everybody loads on up. I wanted to bring to your attention a couple of stories and a couple of things. And I recognize the fact that I perhaps maybe sounding a tad redundant, but I hope to God that the president has the cojones, the ruthlessness, to do what has to be done, specifically regarding the brutality that is going to be required to really get to the bottom of this. Because without that, we are wasting our time. I was, of course, watching what most people do is they will go and they'll say, well, let's see what Fox does. And Fox will air the interview with Hunter Biden as though that's the story, and that's it. The typical stuff. And what I find, my friends, so fascinating is that is a little bit of the story, but not in any way everything, or what we really should be talking about specifically. I wanted to bring to you a couple of things here. I turn every day, and I was listening to an interview between Nick Fuentes and Dinesh D'Souza on Israel-Iran regime change. One of the most interesting debates, if you will, on Alex Jones, and it was one of the best. Nick Fuentes is called a racist, a this, or that, or whatever. And I don't know about that, but what he was saying and the debate that he was engaged in was incredible. So as I go to InfoWars, I look and see what we're seeing here. Look at this. Top computer models predict a 100% chance of nuclear war in the next year if the insane leadership of the European Union is not removed, warns respected economist Martin Armstrong. Do you think that's possible? Is anybody talking about that? No. Because if Laura Ingram's not talking about it, because remember, they set the tone for the rest of the country. If they're not talking about it, nobody is. I can think of very few things. Horrifying. RFK exposes hospitals procuring organs from patients despite showing signs of life. I am not getting an organ donor card. I'm sorry to say that. I am sorry to say that. I have no faith whatsoever in people not, dare I say, accelerating my demise if they have reason to believe that whatever organs I have can be harvested. Now, do Epstein. MLK's daughter urges after Tulsi drops 230 docs on the civil rights leader. Again, what's going to happen regarding that? Nothing. The Syrian civil war. Anybody talking about that? No. How about the city of Minneapolis celebrates its first Somali captain? Have you seen the little Mogadishu, Minneapolis? No. Breaking. POTUS says Barack Hussein Obama is guilty of treason as deep state ringleader who tried to rig an election and did rig an election in 2020. Couple of things here, my friends. Do me a favor. Never refer to, and this is important, never refer to treason unless you're talking about aiding and abetting the enemy during a time of war or whatever. That's that. It's not treason. Don't call it treason. Stop calling it treason. That's one of these. Call it seditious conspiracy, espionage, some other kind of conspiracy. Stop doing that. Again, nobody cares because that's the word people love to hear. New firestorm. President Trump's deputy AG to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, sparking fresh suspicions and driving Democrats nuts. What do you think you're going to tell Ghislaine Maxwell? This is, by the way, this is from Alex Jones. Fantastic. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic claim. What, pray tell, do you see that we're talking about right here? Now, let me go back to you. I just meant to mention a couple of things right now, which I find interesting. How is it that the number one news organization in the number one cable news, and certainly the number one conservative outlet, how is it, do you think, they have missed for so long these very aspects? How do you think so? What do you think so? We'll learn nada, I'm afraid. George in Texas says that. Come get me when someone is arrested. Absolutely. As soon as you finish here, I will go listen to your 77 WABC radio show. Love it, Lionel. Thank you for that. It's a different ball. It's a different consideration. But where do you think this is? Are we also, have you noticed the auto mourn about Ozzy Osbourne? Did Ozzy Osbourne bite off the head of a bat? Yes or no? 2:30 in the afternoon, wow, in Sydney, Australia. Did he or did he not? Did he? Did Ozzy Osbourne bite off the head of a bat? Yes or no? The answer is, well, what do you think? I think he did bat head, rip Ozzy. Ozzy snorted a line of ants. Perhaps maybe he said he thought it was a fake. He thought it was rubber. It was a fake bat, right? Look at how people don't know this story. Look at this. Did he or did he not bite off the head of a bat? False on bat head. I don't know what that means. False on bat head. Did he? Yes or no? Come on, weigh in, everybody. Did he or did he not bite up? Oh, we got a dove. We got a dove here. He thought it was a rubber chicken. People were always throwing stuff. Thought it was a chicken. Bernays says yes, bite. Okay. Says yes, bite. I like that. The answer is yes, he did. He actually did. He actually bit off the head of a bat. Did you know that? He actually did it. One of those things which I find fascinating, and I have it right here. Let me see. I've had the information. I have it written down. I did a bit of a research on this. Did you see also where the federal judges have rejected Alina Habba as Trump's pick for New Jersey attorney, U.S. attorney? Did you see that one? And where's Pam Bondi? Where is, dare I say, Pam Bondi? Well, the story is that Ozzy Osbourne did bite. It was on January the 20th, 1982 in Des Moines, Iowa. Ozzy Osbourne believed a fake rubber bat had been thrown on stage. He picked it up, bit into it, and discovered it was a real dead bat. Ladies and gentlemen, hard-hitting news here. Understandably, he spat it out immediately and had to be hospitalized for rabies shot later that night. He said on David Letterman, "I thought it was a rubber bat. I picked it up, bite the thing's head off, and I can assure you the rabies shots I went through afterwards aren't fun. My mouth was instantly full of this warm, gloopy liquid with the worst aftertaste." It's become legend, and he later, they say, saw some ants. He was doing some ants. Let me see. Did he eat anything or do anything along the line of Ozzy Osbourne or Keith Richards? Keith Richards snorted his father's ashes. That was another one. Did you know that one? Alice Cooper didn't do any animal biting, no grave snorting, corpse consumption. He drank himself nearly to death in the 70s. He was a full-blown alkie during the fame peak. In 83, he got sober, created a horror rock stage show. But he made it clear, Ozzy bites the head off. I do it with rubber. I don't want rabies. I'm theatrical, not suicidal. So Ozzy Osbourne did do that. So that's his story. That's his claim to fame. Also, we're going to be going into automorn today. We're going to be going into automorn. Automorn is best described as this automatic, performative, kind of a class action, tribal, over-the-top, lugubrious, funereal overreaction to the death of someone most people don't know, but they have to act as though this is the end of either the music industry or that they somehow were touched somehow. It's automorn. Auto-loot is another one. This is whenever there's a systematic suspension of order, people will start stealing things. Automorn. You know what a moirologist is? A moirologist is somebody who you would pay to be an artificial a mourner at funerals and the like. It's this thing. It's this idea, the instinctive, exaggerated, and performative act of public grieving for a celebrity or public figure, often by individuals who had no real connection to or awareness of the deceased's work, typically triggered within the seconds of seeing R.I.P. blank trending. Words like, I'm sobbing, no words, this one really hurts, gone too soon, legend, I grew up on this, profile pics, Instagram. There's also people I know who, in the New York area, will immediately go and get pictures that they took of folks that they appeared with standing next to them to show you, look at me, I knew this person. Look at me. See, I'm somebody. See, look at me. See, I'm somebody. I'm important. I'm part of the New York scene. That's who I am. I'm somebody important. I'm somebody special. That drives me crazy. Now, I'm not suggesting that Ozzy's death is something to be trivialized or laughed at by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that, but I don't think anybody really goes that crazy over it. Do you? Do you? Is there anybody whose death really affected you? Mine very simply was Terry Kath. Terry Kath was the one that got me. Terry Kath's death was the one that got me in 1978. I loved him. I felt January the 23rd of 1978. I was 20 years old. Actually, not yet. It was 19 really, because I hadn't turned 20 yet. And I remember in college, and I don't know why. Now, I didn't go into mourning. I didn't wear a black armband or anything like that. But it really did affect me. And it was something which I really thought was something that was a little bit, more than usual. But it wasn't. I didn't go around. And we didn't have the internet to go out and show how our loss was the most important. How our sense of loss outdoes and exceeds anybody else's. I got married in 1978, 21st of May, 18 years old. Wow. We are surrounded. Eddie Van Halen, yep. Terry Kath was brilliant. There's no doubt about it. John Lennon, I remember that 1980. I remember that one. I walked by, because it's in the hood, the emergency room where he was brought to. It was St. Luke's, I think, at the time, but now it's St. Luke's, Weill Cornell, or whatever it is. But that one thing you can see, and I'm thinking this was his last. And I have no reason to believe this. I can't prove this. But if ever there was a case that absolutely stunk, reeked of MK Ultra, it was Mark David Chapman. Absolutely. Freaking lutely. You understand that? Jimi Hendrix. Remember that one year? Remember they were all 27. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison, all 27 years old. Isn't that something? Let me see. When did Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison die, and how old were they? See what I do? I'm always looking up these numbers. The 27 Club. Yep. They were all 27 years old between 1969 and 1971. That was, and by the way, wait until we get into this one period of time where people like Clapton and Stephen Stills and everybody else starts dropping during this one swath, because they're hitting 76, 77 years old. They're hitting this age, and Paul McCartney. I'll tell you who's going to get me is Mick Jagger. I'm telling you right now, right off the bat, because he is. I don't know why he's the guy who has defied all of us. He's 81. 81 years old. Isn't that something? Mick Jagger. Unreal. I think it's still fascinating. He's got that great wig. The wigs that go on your hair today are so good. They're like... he also has that wonderful incisor that's yellow. Have you noticed that? I find that fascinating. But still doing his stuff. Speaking more dare I say, Cockney. When he was young, he spoke most posh, as the Brits say. So in any event, Mick's going to be Keith. How Keith is alive, I have no earthly idea. Sir Mick Jagger. Michael Philip Jagger. Sir Michael Philip Jagger. He was... He studied at the London School of Economics before abandoning his studies to focus on. I don't know how long he actually did this. I'm not really sure. He has more kids. I don't know how many total kids he has, but I'm sorry. He was born, of course, in Dartford. He and Keith Richards. How old is Keith? Or Keith, as they say. Yes, Keith Richards. Keith Richards is 81 also born in 1943. Keith, of course, did not, as you know, become a sir, or was not asked to be a sir. There's something about Keith which I find so refreshing. So anyway, my friends, just a series of random thoughts. I hope you understand that my fear is that the president does not have a viciousness. He needs a hatchet man. He needs somebody brutal. I don't think Susie Wiles can do it. I don't think he has anybody who is really equipped to do this. And certainly not Pam Bondi, who is still wounded from what happened before. Why? Because they've got a big mouth and they won't shut their mouth in public. All right, my friends. I did feel surprisingly sad over Sinead O'Connor. You know, Pamela, so did my wife and I. We felt the same way. Amy Winehouse. But it didn't kill us. Mad Max says, heard a great joke about Ozzy on Timcast today. Every time a rock star of Ozzy Osbourne's stature dies, Keith Richards undergoes a quickening. Oh, there you go. Wow. Tim Pool. Are you a Tim Pool cast? Are you a Tim Pool? Are you a fan of his? I've never been able to spend much time. I get I have a lot of respect for anybody who does a very good job. Tim Dillon. I want you to understand something. I'm a freak. The world I live in, what I see, my view of the world, nobody has. And I recognize that fact, and I'm familiar with it, and I'm completely okay with that, 100%. All right, dear friends, thank you. Mad Max, thank you so much for your kindness. I want all of you to have a great day. Now, go over to 770 WABC or 77 WABC or WABCradio.com and join us. Join the fun, join the frolic, join the excitement as we go live. This is the biggest radio station, the biggest AM station in particular, #1. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying because, you know, it is true. Absolutely, positively, 100% true. Okay? All right, my friends. Have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until we meet again, don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Got a brand new. Go see the interview I did on Redacted. It was very good yesterday with Natalie and Clayton. It was terrific. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Pardon my thumb. Under my thumb.